Congratulations.
Thank you.
Whoa, you knocked it out of the park, my friend.
Pun intended.
You did such an
Thank
amazing
you.
job. And I have to ask you, what was it? How do you think you sold Brian? Why do you think he got the role?
Well, what he said, I mean, I don't know, but what he said is that I was the most courageous. I actually didn't know that. I heard him saying it in an interview, and I was like, oh, that's what it was. I thought I was the most handsome, but
Dude, that goes without saying.
I'm joking. I'm
No,
joking.
it
I'm
goes
joking.
without
I'm
saying.
joking.
No, but seriously, you're taking on a role, this legendary player. What kind of pressure is that on you?
It's a tremendous amount of pressure, but at the same time, it was fun. I mean, like I didn't think about it from that point of view. Like I try to find a way of ways of taking myself away from that way of thinking, um, and I felt pressure mostly from the family. Not that they said you better get this right, or they were really like overbearing at all. But I just wanted to do well by them. When I met Rachel Robinson the first time, she's a regal woman, and she was like a grandmother in that first meeting, and at certain moments along the way, I felt that from her, and I just wanted to do well by her. That's it.
Yeah, just to have her presence there and have her blessing on this movie, to everybody involved must have been phenomenal.
She came to the set. Uh, she was involved in, she read the scripts, different drafts of the script. So you're getting it right. Nobody can say, they didn't get this right about Jackie. I mean, they could say it, but I felt like if she um, signed off on it, then it must be legit. It must be authentic. And there were even moments like where we don't necessarily know that moment in the tunnel happened, but it had to happen. The fact that she didn't, say you got to take that out of the script. He never broke down like that. He never had a moment where he was weak, where he doubted. She didn't take that out, and so it's important to have that moment in the movie, and it sort of is the crux of the whole story. Like that he gets to that point, and then he goes on, and for me, that was one of the key elements to the story.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that. I was going to ask you a little later, but now that we've got a segue, I'm going to go there right now because you're on that field. You're playing, this amazing baseball player. Yet you are a human being, and you are standing there doing a scene where Alan Tudyk is screaming these racial slurs at you. How, as a human, do you even get past something like that?
Uh, well, you want it to happen as an actor. As a person, you have to have your space. That's what you do. I mean, you have space before the scene. You have your space after the scene. You tell people to leave you alone. Don't come over here right now. Like, because it could be dangerous for you. It could be dangerous for me. So you have to have a set where you're giving that protection, and I think they provided that so that you could get the most real experience on screen.
Were you, even in shock reading the script or just talking about the racial injustices that you have to deal with, especially in Philly?
Uh, I'm not surprised by it at all. I mean, I felt like, um, in some ways, the film it gives you the right amount of it. You know, I'm sure he experienced things that were even worse than that. I'm sure he did, but I felt like the film gave you the right amount of it so that you could enjoy the other parts. Because one of the things that Rachel Robinson said to me is that you, her words were basically, you not only helped me remember the darker moments of that time, but the joy that we found with each other. You know, and sometimes that's the irony of life, that during the most difficult moments, you look back on it and you realize how much you enjoyed it, you know, how much you can celebrate it. And I think you needed to have both things in the movie.
Absolutely, absolutely. What a great relationship they had, and of course their Canadian connection, Montreal, of course. You know,
Right.
it's all good.
They feel good about Montreal.
Absolutely, I
Yeah.
know they embraced them, and
Yeah.
they still have memorabilia there for the Jackie will go on forever. I do have to ask you about Harrison Ford. I mean, seriously, dude, you're working against Harrison Ford. What is
Right.
that like?
I mean, it's like getting up for the big game. That's what it is. You circle those scenes on the schedule and say, you know, this is the big game. This is Lakers Celtics. You know, this is Bulls Detroit. This is the Red Sox and Yankees. You know, that's what it is. So I just looked at it as you know, this is why you play the game.
What do you learn from a man like him? He's been around for a while.
Well, you learn from his experience. I mean, there's certain things that you can ask him that you don't learn when you go to acting school. You know, you don't learn those things in a classroom. You don't, and you might not. You're not gonna learn it on other sets because he's played the lead before. That's what he's a leading man. And in this case, I'm playing the lead. It would be a foolish thing to not ask him, you know, certain things about how to do that. So I asked him small things at moments, and then at other moments I just watched him on set. I watched how his rapport with the crew. I watched you know, the way that he understood how things moved around him. Um, Little tricks of the trade, and you just pick them up.
Well, you did an outstanding job in this movie, really. I so enjoyed it, and I just can't wait for people to see it, because hats off to you, my friend. You did a great job.
All right,
Great
thank
to
you.
talk to you.
Thank you.